Good afternoon, everyone. As Rachel mentioned, my name is Raquel Everly. I'm a former journalist from Melbourne, Australia. And we've come a long way to launch Newsmodo. In fact, Newsmodo has just gone live in the last couple of hours globally. So we actually came here to launch it and time that with News Rewired. So it's a very exciting day for us after years of preparation, literally. So I'm just here to tell you a little bit about my background, my observations of the media industry, particularly for news, which will probably be not great news for a lot of us, and not something that I suppose you wouldn't have already read and seen and experienced before, but it provides a background to Newsmodo. So my observations as a journalist, where I worked in Australia for more than 10 years, were that along with the global financial crisis, we were experiencing great difficulty in covering stories. In the network that I worked for, there were more than 100 jobs shed within 1 year. I was personally going out and starting to acquire content by brokering for it, using, I suppose, a bartering system at scenes, buying stuff off people on their mobile phones. So I started thinking, well, is this happening elsewhere? And of course it is. What we noticed is that these trends were happening globally. Newsrooms were scaling back. At the same time, there was a burgeoning industry of freelance media professionals who were working in a new marketplace, a foreign marketplace to them, and looking for opportunities to help those newsrooms acquire content, but there was no intermediary point. From that, I did some research, and recently all that led to a few trends that have become very apparent. Now, these trends, I would say, are flickers of hope, things that we're actually experiencing now that have come out of a very tumultuous time in the industry. And the number one trend is the one in particular that I think reflects best why we've developed Newsmodo, that newsrooms are outsourcing. Back in 2011, as a journalist, after understanding that there needed to be this point, this intermediary exchange between user-generated content and newsrooms, I developed an app called Newsme. Newsme was very basic. It took hold of the boom in smartphone technology that we're all aware of now. This was 2.5 years ago. It allowed people, any user, to upload content and sell it in a marketplace to newsrooms. But looking back, what was probably most valuable from that period was the feedback. We've now been working very closely with newsrooms, and what they were telling us is that, yes, citizen journalism, if you can call it citizen journalism, when somebody happens to be standing next to a bus crash or something and takes a photograph and uploads it to a website, user-generated content has its merits, but newsrooms don't want to be dealing with this stuff on a daily basis, churning through mountains of non-newsworthy material to find the odd diamond in the rough, genuine news. So we've worked with them to develop a platform that is for freelance media professionals that helps newsrooms extend their coverage. So this is Newsmodo. It's a platform that, as I said, connects newsrooms with a global network of freelance media professionals, journalists, cameramen, videographers. About 4,500 have signed up globally now, and as of today, they're starting to submit stories. In the last hour, we've had, I think there's about a dozen stories that have been submitted to the platform. So it's very exciting for us after a long period of development. The platform is a marketplace. Users can create a portfolio and submit their work for sale. Not just pictures, not just videos, but any combination. Whatever creates a story, whatever tells a story can be sold, and it can be sold on multiple licenses in the marketplace. We also facilitate the exchange of assignments, so newsrooms can extend their coverage, get the news they need, using freelancers around the world. We protect the rights of journalists by intricating an accept and an approve process in that outsourcing model, so that no one works for free. No one even works without the knowledge that they'll actually get paid. Newsrooms are required to put that money in up front, and that means that the journalist can actually go about doing a day's work knowing that they'll get paid. Very important to me from my background. Of course, there's a smartphone app, and everything can be either submitted from the smartphone app, and certainly assignments can be also seen on the app and responded to as well from anywhere in the world. We have trialled the technology. It's not just launching today, and it's not the first time we've actually played around with it. We allowed 15 newsrooms to trial it about a month ago, and we were able to provide content to Fairfax. There's a big publication in Australia, images that were syndicated nationally, to Al Jazeera, to Australian television networks, and that was using just a slither, about 150 contributors of our 4,500 on our database. So we were able to prove to those networks and publications that the concept works. Right now we're touring, we're in the UK obviously now, we're moving around Europe for the next month, and we're building up our client profile. So I've met with a lot of television networks and publications. I met with another big one today, and they're telling us that this observation is exactly their reality. So they're looking for this platform to find the content and extend their coverage, and also to sell content. So that's Newsmodo. I appreciate your time. Obviously there's our details. Please do come and find us. We'll be here for another couple of hours, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.